Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Good day and welcome to the show. Glad to have you guys here. I want to talk to you guys for a minute, and I'm going to run through the markets after I'm done talking. You know, I have viewers. I want to thank my audience out there. I have viewers all around the world that watch my show in almost every country, but the primary amount of viewers that I receive is from the United States of America, and probably second, Canada and the United Kingdom. Those are my three areas that watch my show the most, you know. I want to speak to you guys directly. We have a problem, not just with the American dollar, but with the Great British Pound, the Canadian dollar, which is my primary viewers out there. And the problem is, it's a monetary problem that's embedded in the monetary system. And it can't be relieved. It's the way it was established to begin with. Way back when they first established these fiat currencies and they put them in place. Originally, they had a backing behind them, especially I'm going to refer to the United States dollar in particular. It was set up in a way that they had what was called a gold standard. And so it had a solid backing with gold behind the currencies so that they would maintain their value. But in 1971, Nixon took us off the gold standard. And these other fiat currencies, like the Canadian dollar and the Great British Pound, were linked to the dollar, and the dollar was linked to gold, which made a fairly stable, solid backing behind the currencies. When Nixon took us off the gold standard in 1971, he set in motion a process. And that process is reaching its final conclusion. And the final conclusion is what's called a crack-up boom, or a hyperinflation. It's going to be devastating to the currencies because they're going to lose value rather rapidly once this process becomes into full effect. Now, it's a question of timing. It's not a question of will it happen. It's a question of when will it happen. It's going to happen. It has to happen. Unless they were to go back to a gold standard and link the dollar to gold, which is not going to happen. This process will find its final conclusion. There's been talk of central bank digital currencies coming, and yes, it's more than a distinct possibility, but that is not going to stop this process. It might throw a little monkey wrench into the process and change the timing, but the ultimate conclusion is, in the end, is that they're going to have to go back to hard money. Hard money being gold and silver or some other form of hard money as a backing for these currencies, or this process will continue and find its final conclusion. You guys have to prepare for this, not only with your portfolios, but you have to prepare for this mentally and physically. And you have to, basically, there's a lot of other good channels on YouTube that talk about preparations for this event that's coming with this problem that's in our money. Okay? So I'm going to move on now, and I'm going to do the markets today. And we're going to take a look at what's going on in the financial system itself right now. Let's get started. Let's open up the charts right here and take a look now. What we have today in silver, gold, I should say. This is the gold chart, 1778.80. It's up 50 cents. When you consider that gold is the main pillar of support for the entire financial system, this price has been suppressed for years by using paper to trade gold rather than real gold. The Shanghai Gold Exchange, they use real gold. They don't use paper. But over here in the West, For years now, we've been using paper. I say we, have been using paper. Uh, through the COMEX and the London Bullion Exchange. It's finally going to come to a stop now at the end of this year with new Basel III legislation. And so we're probably going to see an unhinging. It's probably going to take till the end of the year before it happens, but we're probably going to see an unhinging of gold in a separation. Once we see that separation, that's going to be the beginning of the end for the fiat currencies, because it's a very strong indicator of failing currencies, particularly the dollar. So now let's take a look at silver today. See what's happening. Silver today is at 26.05. It's up 20 cents, as well it should be. Let's take a look now at cryptocurrencies. 1,387 billions. What we're looking at is a Bitcoin price of 34,520. The cryptocurrencies, if you take a look at them all, we see massive amounts of them. There's quite literally thousands of them. They're not all going to succeed. But you know, they're establishing themselves as an alternative to the fiat currencies. And they should be taken seriously. I know a lot of people out there say they're nothing more than fiat. No, that's not true. They are a new form of money that's setting up a secondary system that's running parallel to the financial system that's already in place. And this should be taken very seriously, because it means to take over. And it's on a one-way mission. It either succeeds or it fails. And time is going to tell exactly what happens with that, whether it will succeed or it will fail. My personal opinion is doing exactly what it needs to do right now in order to succeed. Okay, let's take a look at the Dow Jones Industrial Average today. And what I want to show you guys is for the last 3 months, this Dow Jones Industrial Average has been roughly hovering at $34,000, more or less, give or take. I want to point something out to you guys. What's happened in the last 3 months is we've lost 10 to 15% of our purchasing power of our dollars. And I told you guys this was coming. Last year, I told you guys this is coming. Now it's here. It's happening. What that means is, because the Dows went nowhere in the past 3 months, means 3 months ago, you could have purchased 10% more with the money that you have invested in the Dow. That means you've lost 10%. That means the Dow has actually lost 10%, or 3,400 points, even though it's went nowhere. 10% would be 3,400. So the Dow is actually, in purchasing terms, the Dow has lost 3,400 points in the last 3 months. Believe me, this process is going to continue. Let's take a look now at the crude oil, 73.28. I'm going to tell you guys what, when the Dow finally does start to melt up because of the hyperinflation, and it can go up to infinity, it will hold your purchasing power better than holding dollars during the melt up of the Dow, which I am anticipating once we really move into this up-and-coming hyperinflation. The big question mark in my mind is, what are they going to actually do about the hyperinflation? Because the only actual solution is to go back to hard money. So when they get into hyperinflation, they're going to try to squirm their way out, maybe release a new central bank digital currency. If they don't back it with gold, or back it with something of substance behind it, it'll suffer the same fate as the dollar. Because it's just fiat too. It's just like exchanging one form of fiat for another. But see, they've pulled that trick. Almost every time they've had a hyperinflation, they've always brought out a new version of the currency. You know? So crude oil 73.28. Let's take a look now at the move index 55.60 today for the move index. Move index starting to drop a little bit again. Bonds and rates today. What we're looking at is a mixed bag. Long end's fallen just a little bit. We're looking at the U.S. 10-year at 1.49. It's getting up near 150. And we're looking at the U.S. 30-year at 2.09. Now let's take a look at the U.S. dollar index itself. What we're looking at is 91.86. You know, the dollar reminds me of the Wicked Witch of the West, you know, in the movie of Oz, you know. And just when you think that she's invincible, she was standing there in front of Dorothy and everything, and she had her broomstick and it was on fire, you know, and she'd she'd used her broomstick to light on fire the straw man and everything. And Dorothy, to save the straw man, she picked up a bucket full of water and she threw it and landed on the witch. Just at the moment you thought she was invincible and she had everything under her control, it was like, I'm melting, I'm melting, I'm melting. That's what's going to happen to the dollar. Just when you think it's invincible. When we're having a little deflationary event, maybe in the early part of next year, and the dollar looks invincible, the bucket of water is going to get thrown on it. When the world's central banks have to go back to unlimited printing to stop whatever deflation. Ben Bernanke said it best. He said, if we have to, he said, he was a chief of the central bank at the time when he said this. He said, if we have to, we will dump money from helicopters. What do you think that'll do to the dollar if they do that? I'm melting, I'm melting, I'm melting. Okay, listen, guys. Thank you guys for listening to my show. Like and subscribe, and we'll catch you guys in the very next episode. Bye-bye.